August will be the month of what I can only describe as the Red Wedding episode in Game of Thrones. And this is because recently a Chinese military expert, Yao Chen, revealed on his YouTube channel from insider information he obtained that around August 1st, which is the PLA anniversary, there will be a complete overhaul of the top-level leadership within the Chinese military. A scale of which I can only describe as we suddenly got a massive amount of swapping out from positions very key to the Navy, the Army, as well as the Air Force, among other things, as well as top levels of the Central Military Commission. What's going to happen to the previous ones? Well, those that followed Xi Jinping in multiple rounds of coup, trying to claw back power after he had lost it, are getting arrested, getting purged, as well as getting offed. So there's a big number of empty positions that need to be filled. So there will be a public promotion event, which obviously will be very quick, as there are only a few days until August 1st to confirm whether this is true or not. And the purpose here is to ensure that upcoming meetings such as the 4th plenum or even the Beidaihe meeting, which I believe is underway right now, go smoothly without Xi Jinping having the military backing to try to claw back his positions. So just like the night of the Red Wedding, you can imagine there's been a lot of bloodshed, a lot of things that have been kept under the radar for obviously stability's sake, but yeah, imagine that, but inside the Chinese military. Now, according to Yao Chen, the list will be compiled and given to the meetings at Beidaihe to finally decide on and confirming the final candidates. Specifically, he gave the example of the PLA Navy. So right now, the current commander of the PLA Navy, his name is Hu Zhongming. He says, Yao Chen that is, says he will be stepping down, but we don't know who is replacing him. But in terms of the political commissar of the Navy, it will be somebody who belongs to Zhang a strong ally of Zhang Youxia instead of the previous one, which was Xi Jinping. Now, we've been repeatedly covering two important people that have been purged from the party that are Xi's confidants. Mao Hua is one of them. Now, Mao Hua was the Central Military Political Commissar, and he actually came from the Navy. So you can imagine now his successor, also part of Xi's sort of circle, is being replaced by somebody who is not part of the loyalty. And before we continue, here's a special message from the other David. Dear China Insider viewers, this August, I'm heading to Forest City in Malaysia, a haunting symbol of China's real estate crisis. For a 7-day investigation, I'll be exploring the ghost city and speaking and interviewing with people in Malaysia and Singapore about the Chinese crisis in its real estate, politics, as well as the general perception in Southeast Asia. My goal is to expose the growing influence of the Chinese Communist Party there. Your support will make this journey possible, powering China Insider to deliver unfiltered and bold truth. So why am I going? Well, it's probably the only place outside of China where we can witness the entirety of the Belt and Road Initiative from its rise to the downfall, the decade of Xi Jinping's ambition, and possibly witness the beginning and the end of the CCP's economic might. I am once again asking for your financial support. Sorry, that was my best Bernie impersonation. But in all seriousness, by donating, you become the driving force behind our mission with China Insider going to Southeast Asia. And here is how you can join us. While we're so grateful for any amount of donation that you can provide to us for this journey, if you donate $15, you will receive a personalized thank you letter from me. By donating $35, you receive a personalized thank you letter from me and exclusive behind-the-scenes photos of this trip, which will capture moments you'll never see anywhere else. By donating $65, you will get a digital book packed with outtakes, unseen footage, and my personal reflection, offering a raw insider look into the ghost city and all of its former glory. It also includes all of the $35 tier donation rewards. And if you donate $100 or more, you will receive exclusive, never-for-sale merchandise from China Insider specifically tailored for this trip, which is a unique keepsake for our top supporters, plus all of the previous tier rewards. Your generosity will fund the equipment, travel, and production of this trip, and we just can't thank you enough for sticking with us for the journey so far, and we hope to bring you all of the best stories around China, and this trip definitely will be one that's worth remembering, so join us on the journey and donate today. And that is because right now we believe that Zhang Youxia, the vice chair of the Central Military Commission, not only has gone against Xi Jinping, he's actually the one who holds the military power. So obviously this doesn't take a while to confirm. We'll just be watching around August 1st. And this also probably marks the end of the Beidaihe meeting. And obviously now Xi Jinping hasn't traveled there yet, but the elders have already arrived and they use this opportunity to hold different informal and formal meetings for certain things. And given the fact that we know Xi Jinping has lost power, so the real decision-making doesn't happen when Xi Jinping arrives, it's already being made. Now, who exactly is responsible for carrying out this replacement process? Well, one of them is Zhang Youxia, according to the rumors, but the other one is somebody named Liu Yuan. Liu Yuan was very interesting. That name popped up a few times before, but Zhang Youxia, obviously, which cover this person pretty much every episode on Elite Politics, so we'll just skip that. You can watch the last Elite Politics episode to understand where things are. But Liu Yuan is an interesting one because he was first painted as a Xi Jinping supporter by at least some pro-mainland newspaper like South China Morning Post. But then in 2015, after his retirement, he became one of the most staunch critics of Xi Jinping. So that's very interesting. And he's the son of Liu Shaoqi. So Liu Shaoqi is the guy who took power first from Mao Zedong, and then during the Cultural Revolution, when Mao retook power, he was the first to fall, and he was put into a struggle session, destroyed by Mao during the Cultural Revolution. So in a commentary in 2023, remembering his father, Liu Yuan had been very critical of, he used the words of his father to say that, Liu Shaoqi called for collective leadership, and this was an indirect criticism of Xi Jinping's one-man rule. This almost ally, not quite actually a critic of Xi Jinping, is now supposedly running the show along with Zhang Youxia, doing the work of the second vice chairman, He Weidong, who is another person that we repeatedly talked about, has disappeared. Both Mao Hua and He Weidong are allies of Xi Jinping. So based on this source of information, clearly Xi Jinping has lost control of the military, and he has tried multiple times to claw back the power, and he has failed, and in doing so, he has lost many generals who were involved in the process of trying to regain power. So last year I covered how a group of CCP Red family offsprings, these elite CCP officials, had rallied together behind Liu Yuan to form this resistance against Xi Jinping. But at the time, it led to nowhere in terms of the rumor, and really, it didn't look like it was going anywhere considering that Xi Jinping was in full control. So the only logical explanation as to why now it might be possible is that obviously Xi Jinping is no longer in power, and that it is actually true that he's no longer in power. So because of that, Liu Yuan and Zhang Youxia are in charge. That means Xi Jinping will likely step down from the role of the chairman of the military, which effectively in the party, if you lose the role of the chairman of the military, you have lost control or lost real power. He will likely remain as the general secretary as well as the chairman of the PRC, but those two roles don't really work well in terms of gaining power if you don't have the chair of the military as a title as well. So that ultimately begs the question, who's going to be the chairman of the military if not the general secretary? Usually the CCP leader will hold all three titles, but if you don't have the chair of the military, like I mentioned, it's going to be tough for you to control the power, right? So I don't see how Zhang Youxia would become the chair of the military, considering that Zhang Youxia is very much a military guy. He's not a politician in the sense of wanting to run the country. I think he's very satisfied with staying in the military, following somebody else's order, but obviously, as we talked about, it seems like he's now listening to the CCP elders rather than Xi Jinping. But I don't see him as the one. So the question becomes, who is going to be the next chair of the military? And that's really the interesting question, because no matter how they go about it, if they leave the title or the role of the chair of the military to somebody that is independent, uncontrollable to that of the party, then it could form something like the military junta in Burma, right? Where the military actually controls the party. So that's what they don't want to see. But on the other side, if they give the title again to the general secretary, then that person obviously again holds paramount power. So within a decade later, you have another Xi Jinping. So they can't go about that either. So either way, it doesn't work. Well, obviously, I've already spelled out the solution before in a video. I say that the only way forward for China is to completely get rid of the CCP system. Only that way can you have a functional military that doesn't serve the party but serve the country. You'll have an elected president or prime minister, or whatever the case may be, that is the head of state. And so there's no more of this party-controlled the government and the government controls the people type of situation anymore. And that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about whether you think something big is going to happen on August 1st, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, bye-bye.